Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Leeds View podcast. This is the first of a couple of bonus podcasts that will be going out over the course of this week. We're getting into the final 7 games of the season after we get the FA Cup matches out of the way. And I wanted to gauge the sentiment amongst the Leeds United content creators all across the space. We've spoken to quite a few of them. And in this podcast today, we will have Matty from Imagine Not Being Leeds, Luke from Order Know Better, Darragh from Leeds That, and Max from Leeds Lately. We'll have another video coming out later on this week with Smarty, Joe Blackburn, and Ollie Ward, as well as potentially one or two others that might just creep in towards the end. We've also done our own predictions, myself, Jerry, and Paul, on the podcast, that you can check that out if you want to. But the format's simple. We've taken Rob Earnshaw's predictions between now and the end of the season, and we've applied our own logic to it. I'll ask the guys their gut instinct on who goes down, and then we'll go through the games game by game, win, lose, or draw, to see who they actually believe will go down. And some of the results might actually surprise you from their initial gut take. So you can let us know your thoughts down in the description. If you want to support the channel, you can do so by sticking a like on this, commenting on your thoughts on it as well in the comment section down below. I want to check out any of the affiliates that we are connected with. So without any further ado, we will get stuck in and speak to the lads. Okay, first one up in our copium predictions to see if we actually do believe we're going to stay in the Premier League and who is going to go down. John and Matty Foster from Imagine Not Being Leeds. Matty's details will be down below along with everybody else's. Matty, first things first, are you confident? Where are you at with Leeds' hope of staying in the Premier League?
Hey, hope you're well, mate. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, I'm grand, pal. Can't complain too much outside football. Getting a little bit nervy as the games are coming. You know, obviously it's nice to have a bit of a break. I'm going to lie, this international break, I'm normally not too happy to see him on the horizon, but this one may come at a good time.
Being Irish.
Yeah, yeah, I do feel for you, mate. I really do. A little bit different for you guys, but I'm feeling confident. What I want to get away from is, you know, each week another game's gone and we're not winning games. We're not scoring goals now. At some point, we have to do it for ourselves. We've been fairly fortunate over some game weekends that teams also aren't doing the business, which you do find when you're down the bottom end. You know, if you don't pick up points, a lot of the time they don't as well because you're down there for a reason. But at some point, we have to do it ourselves. If we do go down, it'll be on us. We have some very winnable games. And I do think you're only 2 wins and a draw, 2 away. If you can't get that in 7 games, then there's a problem anyway, and you probably don't deserve to be in the league. So,
yeah, that's the line. All right.
But I'm confident.
Okay.
I'm confident.
So before we start to go through this, then we're going to assume Burnley and Wolves are gone. So it's one place that we're looking at: Nottingham Forest, Spurs, West Ham United, and us. Right. Next up to do their predictions is Luke from the Or to Know Better podcast. Luke's details, along with everybody else's, are down below. Go and check Luke and the rest of the lads out. Luke, how are you doing?
Very well, Joe. Thank you ever so much. Thanks for having me. It's been a while.
It has been a while. We need to do this more often. But yeah, I'm delighted to have you. How are you feeling? Are Leeds staying up in your opinion?
I've just, I can. I know good. I'm going to sort of contradict myself here and say I think we're too good to go down. But some good teams have gone down from the Premier League. But I just feel that we've got, you know, the games that we're picking up points in, where, you know, they are games that arguably teams that go down lose. And I think, you know, even when with the better side, you look at West Ham, they've been the better side in a lot of their games and still lost or start beginning to pick up points. And I just think there's far too much togetherness, camaraderie, and side before self in this side this season. That I think we've picked a real squad of togetherness, and I think that's, you know, compliments to Daniel Farker and the recruitment team, because I think that was certainly one of the attributes that they were looking at when we were looking at bringing players in.
Yeah, I've described them as a bunch of players who have the backbone to carry the weight of expectation from this Leeds United side, this Leeds United crowd, versus the side that went down a few years ago who didn't have a backbone at all. So we saw them crumble under that kind of pressure. So yeah, I would agree with you. Right, next up is Marcelo Bielsa's favorite podcast. It's Darragh from Leeds. That Rocco's off watching Uruguay training at the moment before the England game. Darragh, how are you doing, mate? Thanks for doing this.
I'm good, thanks, Paul. Good to see you. Yeah, I'm pretty envious at the moment. Rocco Dean of Leeds That fame has been invited to go to the Uruguay training ground in London. So he spent the day there yesterday with the big man himself. It's not even his first time meeting Bielsa. He spent an hour with him over in Uruguay not too long ago.
He's been greedy at this point, isn't he?
Yeah, he definitely is. He's got to hug him. He's got to leave somebody else for the rest of us. But no, other than that, I'm okay. Couple of disappointing results, obviously, this week for our teams. Brentford wasn't disappointing results. They are 7th in the table, but I was at the game, and it was a disappointing game to be at. And then Ireland, obviously, last night was gut-wrenching. So,
yeah. How are you feeling about Leeds? What's your gut tell you about Leeds' survival hopes?
Oh, I think we're fine. I think we're by far the best of the 4 teams competing for that final spot. I do think Farke has gotten in his way again, or a little bit recently. I remember saying on the pod when things were going very well for us that he just needs to stay out of his own way and not revert back to type, and just keep making halftime subs and switching formations and doing strange things. And he's stopped doing all that, and he's gone back to exactly what it was the problem before he changed all those things. So I think the writing was on the wall, or the writing is on the wall when is after Brentford comments where that we should, if we draw every game for the rest of the season, that we'll be safe. And I think he's laid it out. That's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to try to draw every single game for the rest of the season. And if he does, we'll be successful. We will stay up. But it's going to be very unpleasant for us as fans to watch. And personally, my preference would be go out there and try and win 7 games, and you probably lose 4 of them and win 3 of them, and we'll be absolutely fine.
But that's it.
That's not what he's going to do.
You can go for the remaining 7-8 points, or you can try and do it 1 point per game, or you could try and win 3 games.
Yeah,
give you 9, you're done. So yeah, I agree with all of that. Yeah, what I will say is we did a pod last week where we did say, is he drawing his way to safety? Because the data suggests he's been successful doing that this season. We've conceded less goals than the sides around us. We've scored more goals, so maybe it is okay. I just think we're better against the sides above us that will come and have a go than the sides that will come in down the road and sit back. And Burnley and Wolves will park a le bus and see how we get on with that. But we'll see how we go. Next up to see if they can predict Leeds United staying in the Premier League, fingers crossed, is Max from Leeds. Lately, Max, how are you doing, mate? And how are you feeling about things right now?
I'm good, thank you. We're in that period, aren't we, where we're just waiting for the football to start again. So I'm just kind of anxious to start playing games again. I think when it's coming thick and fast, it's so much easier to kind of just be like, right, next game. But when you've got like the vast abyss of an international break in front of you, you're looking at it like, can we just play again, please? Even if it's a loss, I just want to play again.
Wait, we've got the FA Cup as a buffer coming out of it, and possibly a try run against West Ham United. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about Leeds' survival hopes at this point, knowing usually what we're like after international break, but because we've got that little buffer there, maybe not so much a big a deal anymore?
Yeah, and I also think it's an added bonus for the final game of the season to have that extra bit of experience of an extra game played against West Ham this season, which I think could come into it as well. Having that bit of away as well is going to be a difficult game in the FA Cup, but I think it does, like you say, it's a little bit of a buffer. You get a bit of experience playing against West Ham and how they're going to line up against you on the final day, and maybe that'll give us a bit more confidence. But yeah, I think I really wanted a win out of the Brentford game because I thought that would bring us confidence for this final run-in. It's a draw, so it's neither here nor there. So I think that we will survive. And what I'll say is we should survive based on our run-in. If you can't beat the teams that we are up against, or at least most of them, then we don't deserve to be in the Premier League, because that's how it goes.
That is how it works, yeah. And I think everyone has said the same thing, and I agree with you. So before we get into the numbers, Max, we're assuming Burnley and Wolves are gone. That final spot, what does your gut say right now?
Yeah, I also think that Wolves are going to finish ahead of Burnley in the end of the end of the season, by the way. But that final spot, it's so difficult, isn't it? Because you're looking at West Ham previous to this and saying, oh, they haven't really got any goal scorers. But then Castellanos has scored a couple of goals for them, and they seem to be picking up a little bit. I think it might be Forest. I think West Ham are going to break out, and I think Forest have got some difficult fixtures in there, and it could be them who face the drop.
So it's one place that we're looking at: Nottingham Forest, Spurs, West Ham United, and us. For that final spot, before we start going through this one by one, I want a gut feeling, and then we'll find out at the end if you actually matches up with your gut. Who do you think drops down?
So I've said Forest all along, but then they went and beat Spurs. And I know West Ham are currently sat in that position, but I'm going to say, as of right now, Spurs. Whether by the time we tally it up, that equals Spurs, I'm not too sure. But gut feeling, they are the worst side in terms of form. They have the most toxic environment, I think, on match days in the dressing room. The manager, I'm not too sure how that's going to go. He's had a bereavement, so that's thrown a lot more into the air. They probably want to sack him. Probably feel like they can't on a human level. So I think Spurs looks the poorest situation at the minute. As weird and mental as that would be for them to go down, we're getting to the point now where weekend by weekend, it's like, actually, this could happen. So, yeah, on the face of it, without dissecting any fixtures, I'm going to say Spurs, mate.
So we're looking at Leeds, Nottingham Forest, Spurs, and West Ham United. Before we get into the numbers, Luke, what does your gut say? Who goes down that final spot?
For me, if you'd have asked me before the most recent results, I would have said Nottingham Forest. But now I think it's West Ham.
West Ham. What does your gut tell you about that final spot? Assuming Wolves and Burnley are gone. Forest, Leeds, Spurs, West Ham. Who fills up that final spot?
Here's your clickbait. It's going to be Spurs. It's going to be Spurs 100%. It's going to be Spurs. I have a brother who's a Spurs fan, and I have a good mate of mine who's a Spurs fan. So I've kept in touch with Spurs throughout the season, and they are woeful. And not only are they woeful, but they're having even worse luck than Leeds have on a general basis. You can see the similarities between when Leeds get relegated. We've all seen a couple of Leeds relegations over our lifetime.
Well, yeah.
Everything falls apart. Everything. Your keeper's not playing well, so you try your second string keeper, and he has an absolute nightmare. So you're back to your first string keeper after 17 minutes. Players are getting injured. Your captain's getting sent off for a pull of the jersey when you're 1-0 up against Crystal Palace. Anything and everything that could possibly go wrong for them is going wrong for them. Even to the point where they did a Pontus Jansson on it against Sheffield United, where it's the biggest game of the year and you all have to come out celebrate us and support us and be the 12th man. And they did all that crap against Forest and then got destroyed 3-0 against lowly Nottingham Forest here. We're not talking about Arsenal. This is Nottingham Forest, who've gone through 4 managers this season and are in complete disarray themselves. So I just think the writing is on the wall for Spurs that no matter the train has left the station. I think it's a juggernaut. It's got momentum for going down, and I don't think it can be stopped.
These are Rob Earnshaw's predictions, so we're following his format on this. We're going to go round by round, and I'm going to ask you win, lose, or draw, win, lose, or draw, win, lose, or draw. No scores. You let me know, and at the end of this, we'll top up the scores, and we'll see if this matches your gut feeling.
Yeah.
Okay? So we'll start off then after international break and after the FA Cup. Leeds United will be away to Manchester United out of Old Trafford. Win, lose, or draw?
I think that's going to be a loss. I just think in the last couple of years, since being back up in the Premier League, I was at the 5-2 where Ayling scored that worldie first season we came back up. And no, sorry, not the first season because that was COVID, wasn't it? The season after. But I just think we don't do well there.
Well, that week, Nottingham Forest will have Aston Villa at home. Back, they've got McGinn and Tielemans back. They look a bit different. But what does your gut say about that one?
I think that's a loss of Forest.
Okay. Tottenham Hotspur will be away to Sunderland.
I think you're looking at a draw there.
And West Ham United will be home to Wolverhampton Wanderers.
I think that might be a win for West Ham.
Okay. Moving to the next round of games, a hugely important home game for Leeds United. Probably one of definitely 2 home games that Leeds probably have to win. Yeah. Wolverhampton Wanderers for Leeds at home.
I've got to predict a win because we simply cannot afford anything else in that situation. We have to win, so a win.
Nottingham Forest will be at home to Burnley, their second home game in a row.
I think that's a win for Forest. Okay.
Tottenham Hotspur will be home to Brighton.
Home to Brighton. Another draw, I think.
And West Ham United will be away to Crystal Palace in a London derby.
I think Palace were pretty poor when we played against them, and they haven't looked that good, really, from what I've seen of them this season. But I think I'm going to say it's a draw.
Leeds United will then travel to Bournemouth, who've been draw specialists at the moment.
Look, I especially with the way that Leeds play, the way that Leeds haven't scored in so many games, and we are pretty tight at the back, though, and we've kept 2 clean sheets in a row. I think it's 0-0 written all over it, so draw.
Nottingham Forest will be away to Sunderland.
I think that's a loss away at Sunderland.
Tottenham Hotspur will be away to Wolves.
I think that's a win for Spurs.
And then West Ham United will be home to Everton, who will be chasing European football at that point, probably.
At home to Everton. I think Everton turned them over.
Okay, then we go to the next mostly important home game for Leeds United, home to Burnley.
It's the same, isn't it, as the Wolves one? We have to win it. That you have to just be winning that one. So yeah, that's 3 points for me.
Nottingham Forest away to Chelsea.
That's a loss for Forest, I feel. I think they're just I mean, Chelsea have with the PE teacher, but I just think that they're too much in terms of quality.
Tottenham Hotspur will be away to Aston Villa.
I think Villa win that one.
And West Ham United away to Brentford. Not an easy place to go.
It's not, and I also think that Brentford will win that one. I think Brentford are pretty strong at home.
Into the final 3 games of the season, then Leeds United will travel away to Spurs, so a 6-pointer here.
I think we lose that one. I think regardless of where Spurs are and how bad of a season they're having, they always seem to beat us at their spot. I think we just don't do well at the Spurs stadium.
Nottingham Forest will be home to Newcastle United.
I think that's a loss. Yeah, I think that's a loss. Look, I know now that Newcastle are out of the Champions League, I think you're looking at less rotation that they have to do with the players, less fixtures, and I think they're going to be a lot stronger with the final stages of the season, Newcastle, because they have been very hit and miss this season, haven't they? But I think they make a late push for kind of top 7.
Then, obviously, you've said Spurs will beat Leeds, so it's 3 points for Spurs there. And then West Ham United will be home to Arsenal, London derby.
You've got to fancy Arsenal to win that one, yeah.
Okay, second last game of the season, Leeds' final home day of the season. Leeds at home to Brighton and Hove Albion.
I think that Leeds Brighton at home is a draw. Yeah. I think I may have talked about this in one of the last time we played them. I think a lot of the time in the Premier League, you do get systems and squads and stuff that just come up against each other, and you can just kind of tell it's a stalemate. Just struggle to score against each other.
Nottingham Forest will be away to Manchester United in their second last game of the season.
I think it's a loss. I think away at Man United is just, they've got too much for them, and Man United seem to be a lot better this season. Certainly in the back half of the season.
Tottenham Hotspur will be away to Chelsea, London derby.
I think that's a loss. I think away at Chelsea, the players get up for it more, don't they? But the way that we've seen Spurs behave this season, they're not a team, are they? Really? So
they're not. No. Okay, and West Ham United away at Newcastle.
I think that's a loss for West Ham.
Final round of games. Leeds United going to London to play West Ham United, and fingers crossed, there's absolutely nothing at stake. But what do you think?
Okay, I think that we're going to win. I was gonna say a draw, and then I thought, do you know what? In all the situations in my time as a Leeds fan, we have mostly bottled games where there's a lot of pressure on it, and London. However, we did it against Brentford in the season where we just about survived, and that makes me think it is possible we can do it. We haven't got a Rafinha and a Jack Harrison to save us, but we
well, that version of Jack Harrison.
Well, yes, that version of Jack Harrison, but I think, I'm going to be positive and say that we get a win out of that one.
Nottingham Forest at home to Bournemouth.
I think a draw in that one between them two.
Tottenham Hotspur are at home to Everton.
I think they might win that.
And you've said that Leeds will beat West Ham, so nothing for them. Okay, at this point, we'll pause it and we'll tot it all up and see how we go. Okay, Matt. These are Rob Earnshaw's predictions. So we're just going to go win, loss, draw. We're not going to look at score results. And I will clip these up afterwards anyway. But let's start with the first round of games. Leeds versus Man United away. Win, lose, or draw?
Lose. Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay. Nottingham Forest, Aston Villa at home.
I think draw. Draw for Forest.
Okay. Spurs are away to Sunderland.
Has to be a loss for Spurs. Has to be.
West Ham United are at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers.
I think West Ham win that game.
All right. 6 to go. Leeds have Wolves at home. Big one.
Has to be a win, Joe. Has to be. And I know Wolves are doing fairly well, but if we don't target 3 points there, mate, there's something to miss. So we'll beat Wolves for me. Nottingham
Forest have Burnley at home.
I agree with Rob Earnshaw on that one. I think Forest will win.
Spurs are then at home to Brighton. Not a straightforward game.
I can see Spurs getting a point in that one, mate. I'll go draw for Spurs.
West Ham are away to Crystal Palace.
I think West Ham win that one. We've just been at Palace ourselves, so how poor they are. I think if we'd have played on the front foot a bit more, not had the sending off at just before half time, we maybe would have gone and won that game. So I think West Ham, with the way they play, Joe, will beat Palace. Back-to-back wins for them.
Okay, all right. Then we go to 5 to go. Leeds away at Bournemouth.
Yeah, I'd go over draw with that, which would be a great result. The draws away from home aren't
Mhm.
brilliant if you're not winning at home, but Bournemouth away to back up a win against Wolves would be a decent draw, that one, but I'll go with that.
Then we've got Nottingham Forest. They're away to Sunderland. Not an easy game.
Yeah, you'd have to back Sunderland to win that one. So Forest
Okay.
lose.
Spurs go away to Wolves.
Draw.
And West
Well,
Ham.
West Ham
West
at home,
Ham are at
Spurs.
home to Everton. Every time at West Ham. Yeah, West Ham are at home to Everton.
I'm going to go and Everton win there. I think Everton might go there and win.
So West Ham to lose. Okay.
West
All
Ham, yeah, West Ham to lose, mate.
Then we got Leeds at home to Burnley. Another massive game.
Yeah, has to be a win. Has to be a win.
Has to be a win.
Yep.
Nottingham Forest travel away to Chelsea. The basket case that they've been this year.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, that could be a decent game of football to watch. To be fair, as a neutral, I say neutral, we won't be really neutral. We'll be cheering Chelsea on, unfortunately. But I think Chelsea win that, so I'll say Forest will lose that one, mate.
Spurs go away to Aston Villa.
I think Villa win, so I'll go Spurs loss.
And West Ham go away to Brentford.
Brentford win, so West Ham loss.
Okay, into the final 3 games of the season, which we hope it's all done and dusted by, but no one Leeds it won't be. We have got Spurs away. So their home record has been abysmal this year, but they'll have a new manager likely by that stage. But Leeds away to Spurs.
You know me, Joe. I'm a huge positive Leeds fan. I've just got a feeling we lose that game, you know.
Nottingham Forest, they're at home to Newcastle United.
Draw.
Spurs, well, have the lead. So
Yep.
if we lose that game, you have Spurs down for
Spurs
a win there. Okay. And then West Ham United are at home to Arsenal in a London derby.
West Ham lose. Arsenal win.
West Ham lose.
Yeah.
Okay, final 2 games of the season then. Leeds United at home to Brighton and Hove Albion. We owe them one.
We do, but I'm going to put a point down for that. I think we draw against Brighton at home.
Nottingham Forest travel to Old Trafford away to Manchester United.
Forest lose.
Forest lose. And then another London derby. It's Spurs away at Chelsea.
Yeah, Chelsea win. Spurs lose that one.
West Ham United then will be away to Newcastle United.
Go Newcastle win. West Ham loss.
And the final day of the season, Leeds travel to West Ham, which we hope won't be a winner takes all game. But Leeds away at West Ham.
I've always fancied us to win this game. I actually think we'll beat them the next 2 games we play. I think we'll beat them the FA Cup, and I think we'll win this game. So I'm going to put Leeds down to win.
Forest at home to Bournemouth. Home game, final day of the season. Always nice.
I'll put it down for the draw.
Spurs at home to Everton.
I'll go draw.
Okay, and you've said West Ham will lose to Leeds, so that'll be a defeat
Yes.
on the final day for West Ham United. Okay, Leeds away at Manchester United. First game back at the league after the international break in the FA Cup. What does your head say? Win, lose, or draw?
We'll be riding the crest of a wave after beating West Ham in the cup, and we're going to go there and nick a point. I think it'll be. I think it'll be a good game. Yeah, be a nick a point.
Then you've got Nottingham Forest, and they will be at home to Aston Villa.
They'll lose that game.
Spurs will travel away to Sunderland. Not an easy game.
They will draw that game.
And West Ham United will be at home to Wolverhampton Wanderers.
They will draw.
Next round of games, then Leeds will have Wolverhampton Wanderers at home. One of those 2 really important games from Leeds' perspective at home, but they've got Wolves at home. Where does your head say?
3 points. We win that one.
The Nottingham Forest will be home to Burnley.
They'll win that.
Then we've got Tottenham Hotspur. They're home to Brighton Hove Albion. Not straightforward either.
No, not straightforward. I just think that we're going to keep coming back to this, I'm sure. But yeah, I think Spurs have got far too much strength in depth to go down. I think they'll draw that game.
And then West Ham United will travel to London to play Crystal Palace. Well, across London to play Crystal Palace.
Yeah, away from home. I think if that was at West Ham, I think they might have got a point, but I expect them to lose that game.
Then we go into the final 5 of the season, and Leeds will be away at Bournemouth, who've drawn their last 5.
Yeah, that's another point away on the road for me. Typical Fark setup. And anything more than a point is a bonus, but would be happy, and Bournemouth would be happy with a point as well. I should expect.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, not a huge amount to play for them. Nottingham Forest will be away to Sunderland.
I think that ends in a draw as well. Actually,
Spurs will be away to Wolverhampton Wanderers.
Spurs away. I think they'll lose that game. Actually, I think they'll lose.
And then West Ham United will have Everton at home.
I probably agree with Rob Earnshaw there and say that they'll probably get beaten by Everton.
Then we get Leeds' next home game, and that's against Burnley.
Yeah, it's a home win for me. It's one, as you said, it's one of the 2 that we really have to win going into this running, and it's one I fully expect that squad to comfortably complete.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Then we've got Nottingham Forest away at Chelsea, who have been weird this season.
They have been weird, but again, I still expect Chelsea to have enough at home to beat Forest.
Tottenham Hotspur away at Aston Villa.
Again, yeah, I agree with Rob Earnshaw, and don't expect Spurs to get anything from that.
And West Ham United will go away to Brentford, which is never an easy place to go to.
It's never easy. However, I do again agree with Rob Earnshaw, and I think they might nick a point there.
Leeds United away at Tottenham Hotspur. So Spurs' record's not been great at home this season, but you would imagine they'll have a new manager. Just talking Sean Dyche at the time of recording, popping in. But what do you think with that one?
I expect us to lose that.
Yeah, I'm the same.
I think we'll lose that. Spurs away from home. You know, we don't have a great record down there. You know, they probably will have a manager well embedded by then as well. And I think they may turn a bit of a corner by then. So yeah, I expect us to lose that fixture.
And Nottingham Forest will have Newcastle United at home.
I'm going to say that's a draw.
You've said that Spurs will beat Leeds. That gives them 3 points in that fixture. And then we've got West Ham United at home to Arsenal in London Derby.
Yes, it's 3 points for Arsenal, but irrespective of where that fixture was, I think.
Last 2 games of the season, Leeds' final day at home. And that's at Brighton coming to Elland Road for the final home game of the season.
I think we win that fixture.
I like this. I like this a lot, Luke. Nottingham Forest away at Manchester United.
Yeah, loss for Forest.
And then Tottenham Hotspur away at Chelsea in their London derby.
Yeah, I still fully expect Chelsea, irrespective of what happens with Spurs and their turnaround. I think Chelsea will win that comfortably.
And then West Ham United will be away at Newcastle United.
Yeah, I agree with Rob Earnshaw. I think a loss for West Ham against Newcastle, you know, it's pretty much as far away as they can go for a fixture in the country, travelling up and down. You know, it's not. They've had a couple of games in London before that. They'll probably be a little bit settled.
Palace,
yeah, so I think that will probably hinder their performance when they travel all the way up to town.
Then Leeds' final day of the season, we travel to London, our favourite place in the world, and we go to play West Ham away.
Yeah, I fancy a draw. I do. I think it'll be a tough, gritty game. I'm hoping I don't know what the old numbers are saying, but from my predictions so far, but I'm hoping there's not a lot to play for on that final day for us from our perspective, because that may change my outlook. Could be if there's nothing for us to play for, and there is for West Ham, I expect us to lose. However, if we're not safe and it is a final day fight for survival, then I think we'll nick a point.
Nottingham Forest then will have Bournemouth at home on the final day of the season. We're the only ones away from home on the last day of the season.
Yeah, I probably agree. I think Forest probably will beat Bournemouth on the last day. Bournemouth will be on the beach.
Spurs will have Everton at home.
Again, I probably expect Spurs to win that fixture. I don't think Everton will have a great deal to play for at that stage of the season. Spurs, as I say, may have turned a corner by then. I think Spurs are probably on paper a better side than Everton anyway. So I probably expect Spurs to take all 3 points.
Then you've said a draw with Leeds and West Ham. So okay, that's the predictions done. And then I'll keep a thought of this. And at the end of this, I will give you who your logic-based decision has said will go down in that final spot. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's start off then. First round of games coming up after the FA Cup game, after the international break. Leeds away to Manchester United.
Unfortunately, our record at Old Trafford's awful. It's going to be a loss.
Nottingham Forest will be home to Aston Villa.
Villa win.
Spurs are away to Sunderland, which is a tricky place to go.
Sunderland win for exactly that reason.
And West Ham United will be home to Wolverhampton Wanderers, who have nothing to play for.
Draw. Wolves have been far better since they've had nothing to play for, haven't they?
It tends to be the way, doesn't it? The pressure's off. You just play with some freedom and play for your next move, you know? So, yeah. Well, then speaking of Wolves, Leeds will have them in our next home game, and probably the biggest home game we'll have up until this point of the season. Where's your head at?
Home win for Leeds. And logic being that I think Wolves will have a go a little bit. I don't think they will park the bus. I don't think there's anything in it for them to do that. And I think our quality at both front and back would be better than Wolves. Whereas with West Ham, I don't think West Ham's quality at the back is all there. I think our attack is pretty good, but they're defensively they're very, very poor.
Nottingham Forest will have the other relegated side, Burnley at home.
I'm going to go with a draw.
Spurs will be home to Brighton and Hove Albion.
Loss for Spurs.
And West Ham United will be away to London rivals Crystal Palace.
Palace win.
Next round of games, Leeds go away to Bournemouth, who've been drawing nearly every single week for the last 5 or 6 weeks so far. What do you think?
Good point on the road. That's exactly what we'll set out for. That's what we get.
Sunderland away for Nottingham Forest next.
Loss for Nottingham Forest.
And then Spurs will be away to Wolverhampton Wanderers, which could be a big deciding factor.
And that's when the SHIT is really going to hit the fan, because Wolves are going to beat them.
Okay, all right then. And
if
then
Wolves
West
get that
Ham
one
United,
result, their season could be made. That could really hurt Spurs.
yeah, that's the one. I think you're right with that as well.
They could be bang up for
Okay,
that.
West Ham United will be home to Everton, who will be probably going for European football at that stage.
and have a great away record. So loss for West Ham.
Leeds, second last home game, and again, probably a very important one, home to Burnley.
And that fixture's just been moved to a Friday night under the lights, 8 p.m.
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to go with Leeds win, but it'll be narrow. We won't take up many chances, but our quality might just show through Ellen Road.
Can Farke beat Scott Parker? That's the question. Yeah, we'll see. Okay, so Nottingham Forest then travel away to the basket case side of the season, Chelsea.
I think that could be a draw. For exactly as you say, we don't know what we're going to get in that one, so I'm just going to sit in the fence.
And then Spurs will be away to Aston Villa, who found form with McGinn and Tielemans coming back.
Yeah, they'll be pushing for Champions League, so Villa win, Spurs loss.
West Ham United away to Brentford, who've got a very solid home record.
Yeah, you've got to fancy Brentford there.
Leeds United then away to Tottenham Hotspur. So this is again a 6-pointer in that relegation battle. Spurs' home record's been dreadful all season. What do you think? Do we get a point on the road there as well?
I think we're going to relegate them. I think that's the day they get relegated.
Oh, well, that would be karma, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
What they did to us.
What they did to us in the last day of the season with Big Sam.
Sweet. All right, Nottingham Forest home to Newcastle United.
Newcastle.
And you've already said that we'll beat Spurs, so they get 0 for that. God,
this
is horrendous looking.
I tell you, I just think Spurs are brutal.
They really are. There's no wins in 2026, but looks of things here, it's going to finish that way as well. West Ham United will be home to London rivals Arsenal.
Yeah, loss for West Ham.
And then Leeds will final home game of the season against Brighton.
Yeah, bit of a bogey team. We'll take a draw. That'll be all we need.
Nottingham Forest will go away to Champions League chasing Manchester United.
Yeah, exactly. And for that reason, Forest will lose. Spurs
then away to Chelsea, London derby.
Chelsea win. I've seen some stuff on the internet with Chelsea fans. They are dying to be the team that relegates Spurs. So they've actually said it'd be a good. They could say it's a good season if they can relegate Spurs. So Chelsea win. We've one game to be really up for.
West Ham United away at Newcastle United, who will need to be fixing their season over the next 7 or 8 games.
Yeah, loss for West Ham there, I think.
Okay, and then we go to the final round of games. Leeds travel down to their favourite place in the world, London, to take on relegation rivals West Ham United.
It's probably not going to matter for us too much at that stage. I'm teetering between a draw and a loss. I think the pressure is going to be off. Let's call it a draw. We'd be positive for Leeds.
Nottingham Forest are at home to Bournemouth. Leeds are the only away side in the final round of games, but Forest will have Bournemouth, who again, mid-table, not a huge amount to play for at home.
Yeah, I think Forest win there.
And Spurs will be home to Everton.
And I think Everton win. Everton, again, chasing some European football, and their away from home form is excellent.
Right, Darragh, let's tot this up. Right, Darragh, we've totted up your logical scoring to see if it backs up your gut feeling. It's pretty much on the money. So you reckon Leeds will pick up an additional 12 points between now and the end of the season. Forest 5, Spurs nothing between now and the end of the season, and West Ham United just 2 solitary points, which means you would have Spurs finishing in that third bottom spot with 30 points, the exact same total they're on now. West Ham just pipping them on 31 points. And then Nottingham Forest 6 points ahead of them on 37, and Leeds very clear on 45 at that point, which would be a very good season for Leeds United. They've been finishing 14 points clear of the relegation zone, which would be very comfortable considering how it is right now. Recalculated Manny's numbers. Matty, what was your prediction to get relegated from the Premier League in that final spot?
It was Spurs.
Are you confident it's still Spurs after going through all of this?
No. I'm not sure. Spurs and West Ham will be tight, I think, after going through fixtures.
This is why I wanted to do this, because we all have a team in our head, but then when you start looking at the fixtures, okay, so you have predicted Leeds to get 11 more points between now and the end of the season. You have us winning at Wolves, getting a point at Bournemouth, winning at Burnley, getting a point at Brighton, and winning at West Ham. Which is 11, if my maths is correct. It probably isn't, but there you go. Then you've got Nottingham Forest picking up an additional 6 points between now and the end of the season. You've got Spurs picking up 6 points between now and the end of the season. And you've West Ham picking up 6 points between now and the end of the season. So that means in the final relegation spot in 18th place is West Ham United on 35 points. 1 point above them will be Tottenham Hotspur on 36 points. 2 points above them, Nottingham Forest on 38 points. And then Leeds United sitting on 44 points in exactly the same order we're in right now. Great. Right, Luke, I have totted up the points based on your predictions. And yes, you'd be glad to know that according to you, Leeds United will be very, very safe You've given Leeds an additional 12 points between now and the end of the season. Not a million miles what Ron Burnshaw predicted as well, and what Matty Foster has predicted already. And you have Leeds sitting on 45 points, which will be a decent season. That would be a good season by Leeds. Well, initial start of season predictions, that'd be a very, very good season. You then have Nottingham Forest picking up 8 points, Spurs picking up 8 points, and West Ham picking up 3 points between now and the end of this season, which will see West Ham go down in that final spot with 32. So it matches your gut instinct anyway. Spurs would finish just above them, well, 6 points above them on 38 points. And Nottingham Forest would be safe on 40 points, which would mean, as you were hoping would be the case, Leeds would be going to West Ham and probably playing Brighton and probably playing Spurs with not a whole lot to worry about, which again is my hope that we get that done the next 3 or 4 games as well. We don't go to Spurs needing anything even there. So, okay, we've totted up the final set of numbers to see if your gut versus your logic holds true. And you predicted Nottingham Forest to be relegated. That was your gut instinct. Just didn't have enough, would go down. Okay. So you've predicted Leeds United will pick up an additional 11 points between now and the end of the season.
That sounds like a lot now.
It does, but consistent with pretty much everybody else, 11, 12 points, everyone else. But I think everyone else is voting for Leeds based on what they think Leeds have to do versus what they think Leeds will actually do. So where I think the opposite applies to the rest of the sides. Nottingham Forest, you've said an additional 4 points for them. Spurs, an additional 11 points. You're the most optimistic for Spurs. In fact, Darragh predicted 0 for Spurs, and you've added 11. So there's a big swing there.
Yeah, that is.
And on West Ham, West Ham, you predicted an additional 4 points for them. So based on your logic and your numbers, Leeds will be safe on 44 points, followed safe by Tottenham Hotspur on 41 points, followed by Nottingham Forest on 36 points.
Oh, wow.
Your logic says West Ham United go down on 33 points. So what do you think of that?
Well, it's pretty close to what I predicted, but I don't know. Like when you're thinking about the games without the actual points total in your head, when you then look back at it and go, "Wow, I only predicted 4 points for both of those two and 11 points for Spurs." Yeah, it's just some of the, it's the fixtures that they've got really for me. I think it's the fact that West Ham have got Everton, Arsenal, Newcastle, Brentford, all decent sides. And Forest have got Villa, Sunderland, Chelsea, Newcastle, Man United, and Bournemouth, which is a really tough run-in for them.
It is. Yeah, we have got the games to keep us in the Premier League. We have to go and win those games. But you're also looking at going, well, every week it's 1 game less. And if they're not picking up points against what are tough run-ins as well. Yeah. We've talked about this before. Daniel Farke might end up drawing his way to safety. We won't love that. But at the end of the season,
it'll be enough,
as long as we're still correct, absolutely.
Last closing thought was that we have been given every opportunity to, well, not been given because we've done it to ourselves at some point as well. We have got ourselves with the most points out of anyone. We've also got the best fixtures out of anyone. Everything is stacked, so we can have no complaints if we don't survive, other than like what we actually do. There's nothing that's stacked against us.
There'll be one complaint. That'll be it. That'll be we know that, but that will be. But we'll fingers crossed we don't get there. Folks, you can check out Max's details down below at Leeds Lady on YouTube for his watch-alongs, for his content that he puts out every single week, tactical breakdowns, as well as details are there along with his cat. You can check all that information out if you want to. Good time. Max, thanks very much for joining me. Appreciate you doing this.
Thank you.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, I got to be. I mean, look, I think 12 points for Leeds is very ambitious. I'd happily take 9, very happily take 9. But for me, it's more about the teams below us. As I've said, I think we've done a good deal of the work up until this point, and we have some winnable games coming up. And we're playing the entire bottom 4. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better run-in of fixtures. And also, you throw in Brighton and Bournemouth with nothing to play for. So for me, it's less about Leeds and it's more about looking at the other 3 and seeing where they're going. And as I've said with Spurs, I just don't see where they're going to pick up points because I think everyone will kind of want to relegate them because it says a lot. And the teams they have are playing for either something, and even if they're not playing for something, they're playing to relegate Spurs, which is something their fans are going to want. So I think in any game that they have where they play against someone who has something to play for, they'll fight harder than Spurs because I don't see any fight in Spurs. And if they're playing against someone who just wants to relegate Spurs and turn it into a scrap, Spurs just haven't got the stomach for a scrap. So I just can't see them picking up another point.
Darragh and Leeds Stats details are all down below in the description along with everybody else's. Make sure you go and check out Leeds Stat podcast. It is a fantastic podcast, and no doubt Rocco will be back with some anecdotes from his time hanging around the Uruguay training camp and Marcelo Bielsa. Darragh, where can they find you on your own socials?
Yeah, you get me at Darragh C81 on X. And yeah, very engaging on that. Love to have the chat with yourself, obviously, and everyone around the Leeds community. So yeah, the more followers, the better. I always follow back.
Cheers, Darragh. Appreciate it. Surprise you at all?
Yes, a little bit, because I literally look at West Ham and I think the way they're playing, they're going to pick up enough points. But when you isolate it down to just the fixtures from Palace, Everton, Brentford, Arsenal, Newcastle, and Leeds, that is such a tough run for West Ham. So actually, surprised that Spurs aren't in the relegation zone based on my sort of feelings. But yeah, game by game, Joe, it does change things when you go through it methodically, doesn't it? So
it'll be tight as well.
To go down.
I think Ashley Williams predicted it by a point as well. Interesting come the end of the season.
I can't wait to see what you think.
Yeah, I might not do that. Let's see. That's the advantage of sitting in the seat. Matty, thank you very much for doing this, folks. Check out Matty's channel, Imagine Not Being Leeds. Details are down below. Fantastic channel. And you can check out Matty on all of his bits and pieces that he does over there, especially his Friday night stream, which, by the way, if you want to know what is between Matt Heath's teeth or between Tony Darrag's toes, it is worth checking him out for Friday night. That's what I highly recommend. Worth watching. Matty, thanks very much, mate.
Thank you, Joe. Take care, everyone. Thank you.
That'd be a decent season, Luke.
Absolutely. I've probably been looking at the points return. I've probably been a little bit optimistic, but safe to say I'm the resident happy clapper of social media leads. So I think 45 points would be a tremendous achievement. I think finishing anything above 18th is a positive and is we've certainly hit our targets. Then, Joe, I think Daniel Farke, if we do survive this season, deserves his props as well. But again, we'll probably have a bit more of a chat around that when we're safe, shall we say? Yeah,
there will be no doubt a summer debate around what do Leeds do next, depending on how the next couple of weeks go. But yeah, I would agree. If we stay up, job is done. Well done, Daniel Farke. If we go down, as Benjamin Bloom said to me, is there anybody better to get you back up than Daniel Farke? What do you do in that situation? So yeah, absolutely. That's a bigger conversation for a different day. We would definitely talk about that between now and the end of the season as well. Luke, thanks very much for joining me. His details and Or to Know Better podcast details are all down below in the description. Go check out the lads at Or to Know Better. There's some fantastic podcasts out each week. So very much worth checking out. Luke, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you, mate.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Nice one.